Thank God, right? Thank God. There will be a future generation, potentially, with no microplastics in their body. More fun than that.
It doesn't matter on that. Like, the thing is, as well, as like people don't realize, is that, like, let's just say like you have a baby, right? And or you know, that baby is a baby and they're just like lying on the ground all the time. The reason why they're able to go, oh, we found this one person who had microplastic in their fucking body, or people that had microplastics in their body, it's just because, like, eventually, you know, the plastic works its way through the surface. You know, some people have it more than others because of particular reason, because of like micro exposure through like development periods. And then your like skin will heal over, and now all of a sudden, under a microbiopsy, your liver, you know, your back or your kidney or something like that has like microplastic exposure, right? The fact of the problem is, you know, I believe why we have an increase in microplastic exposure is because we've had to fuck around all this bullshit so we can accommodate to all this forced change, which is forced plastic to be terrible, which is the reason why it just breaks down retarded, because people are trying to meet it in this middle ground, and now we just have this plastic that doesn't break down. Yeah, well, luckily it doesn't really do anything, right? It doesn't really do anything to you at all. It's just as bad as kidney stones, as like a health thing. What would be bad is if it became airborne like asbestos.
DNA of 50 million people for sale in the 23andMe bankruptcy. A lot of you for years have wanted me to do 23andMe, and this is what I was really holding out on, you know? I knew the data wasn't secure, that's why I never did it. I knew it would get out there somehow. Check this out. There's no way to know what a buyer will want to do with the reams of genetic information as collected. Customers, meanwhile, still have no way to change their underlying genetic data. If you're not familiar with the story, we'll just get you caught up quickly. 23andMe filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy Sunday. Sorry, that just gives me flashbacks to the crash of the housing market. You know, after 9/11, the number 11 just rang in a couple different ways. You know, obviously the event itself, but then Chapter 11. The amount of people, the amount of families that went through Chapter 11 after the first housing crisis in my time.
Did you Google this?
You know, there's a whole coalition of parents that went through Chapter 11 bankruptcy. You know, because people were making such stupid money off of their house back when I was growing up that they were owning things like pizza shops and, you know, just, you know, buying 2 boats, and it was crazy. Anyways, 23andMe filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy Sunday, leaving the fate of millions of people's genetic information up in the air as the company deals with the legal and financial fallout of not properly protecting that genetic information in the first place. The filing shows how dangerous it is to provide your DNA directly to a large, for-profit commercial genetic database. 23andMe is now looking for a buyer to pull it out of bankruptcy. 23andMe said in court documents viewed by 404 Media that since hackers obtained personal data about 7 million of its customers in October 2023, including, in some cases, health-related information based upon the user's genetics, it has faced over 50 class action and state court lawsuits, and that approximately 35,000 claimants have initiated, filed, or threatened to commence arbitration claims against the company. It is seeking bankruptcy protection in part to simplify the fallout of these legal cases, and because it believes it may not have money to pay for the potential damages associated with these cases. Now look at...
Well, then everyone